Let's continue with our clues to recognition. Recognition clue number 4, shipping papers and facility documents.
There may be no outside indication as to the presence of hazardous materials during transportation or in a fixed facility. However, any hazardous materials in transport must be itemized on the shipping papers. Depending upon the mode of transportation, shipping documents can be known as waybills or consists, dangerous cargo manifest, air bills, and others. Bill of ladings are used when products are transported over the roadway. They must be within reach of the driver, or if the driver leaves the vehicle, on the driver's seat or pocket of the driver's door. Air bills are in the possession of the pilot, and hazardous cargo manifests are with the master of the vessel or in the document holder on the barge. You must avoid placing yourself at risk by attempting to recover the shipping documents when the container or vessel is leaking. If the operator of the vehicle can, have them bring the papers to you. The purpose of the Hazard Communication Standard is to ensure that the hazards of all chemicals produced or imported are evaluated, and that information concerning their hazard is transmitted to employers and employees. The Hazard Communication Standard requires all employers to provide information to their employees about the hazardous chemicals to which they are exposed, by means of a written hazard communication program, labels and other forms of warning, material safety data sheet, information, and employee training.
Recognition clue number 5, markings and colors. These clues refer to specialized markings, which may indicate the presence of other hazardous materials.
Markings like the NFPA 704 symbol, which may be found on fixed facilities. This 4-segment diamond indicates the relative hazard of materials, which may be found at fixed facilities or storage. The blue section represents the health hazard, red the fire hazard, and yellow the reactivity hazards. In each of these areas, a number from 0 to 4 would be placed to indicate the level of hazard anticipated, 0 indicating no hazard and 4 indicating the highest hazard. For example, in the case of acrylonitrile, also known as vinyl cyanide, the health hazard is a 4. This indicates that a couple of whiffs or contact with this material can be fatal. A 3 in the flammability section indicates that the material can be ignited at any ambient temperature. In other words, it has a very low flash point. And the 2 in the yellow reactivity section indicates that the material is normally unstable and may undergo a violent reaction. But it will not detonate like a class 3 or 4 material would. The white section at the bottom of the diamond is used to show additional information concerning the material that may be pertinent to the emergency responder, such as a use no water symbol, which would indicate that the material is water reactive. An OX symbol would indicate that the material is an oxidizer. Other markings include stenciled names on the containers, such as in the case of this rail car. There are approximately 50 materials which, when transported by rail, must have the name of the product permanently marked on the car. In this case, the car is marked to indicate that it is designated to carry sodium hydroxide solution. Other examples of markings and colors include items like company name and other indicators that hazardous materials are present.
Recognition clue number 6, the human senses. Depending on the senses used, they can be very helpful, such as sight or sound, or they can lead to an increasing risk of exposure, such as taste, touch, or smell. You would never want to unnecessarily expose yourself to the product by using a taste, touch, or smell method.
However, if you do inadvertently detect an odor, do not ignore it, even if it passes quickly and does not return. Many materials can deaden your senses of smell within 1 or 2 breaths. Therefore, you may smell something for a brief moment, and having thought it went away, you may expose yourself to higher and higher levels. If you do smell something unusual, get out immediately and never, under any circumstances, come into direct contact with any material. Such actions place you at certain risk for injury or death.
We've talked a lot about hazard identification, specifically recognizing, classifying, and identifying hazardous materials. The key to a proper HAZMAT response, above all else, is simply recognizing that you are dealing with hazardous materials. To do this, use the 6 clues to HAZMAT recognition. Those are occupancy and location, container shape and size, placards and labels, shipping papers and facility documents, markings and colors, and lastly, the human senses. In addition, we have discussed the 9 general hazard classes and some of their subdivisions. A listing of the 9 hazard classes can be found in the DOT ERG.
Once you have recognized and classified, then you want to identify the material by name or identification number if you can do so safely. This 4-digit number may be found on the placard itself or on a rectangular orange panel. In addition, you want to find the identification number on the shipping papers for the vehicle. In the case of this placard, the identification number is 1830. By using this number, we can go to the yellow index pages of the DOT Emergency Response Guidebook and identify this product as sulfuric acid. Or in this case, the ID number 2448 will identify the product as molten sulfur. If you cannot find a 4-digit ID number, you'll want to try to identify the name of the product. Again, make sure that you do not put yourself at risk of exposure in order to accomplish this task. Absolute identification is a low priority when it compares to your health and safety. If you can identify the name of the product, you can reference the name in the blue pages of the DOT Emergency Response Guidebook, such as potassium permanganate.
Remember, the first and most important action is to recognize that you are dealing with a hazardous material. Once you have taken this action, attempt to classify the product that you are dealing with. If you can do so safely, try to identify the product either by name or identification number located on the container or vessel. It is the recognition and identification process that starts the safe response to your hazardous material event. Once you have gained this valuable information, you will be better prepared to take control of the situation, protect yourself, and protect others.